Hey folks, Paul David here from Sensei Publishing, and in today's video I'd like to share with you my origin story behind creating the Kids on Earth series at Sensei Publishing, and I also want to share with you my passions behind why I've created it. So let's get started. Picture this, which we all can, the beginning of the pandemic. So most of us are home, if not a lot of us are home, definitely under lockdown, and we're doing our thing, or we're not doing our thing. For me, it's a little bit different because prior to that, I had, not too far prior to that, I had been hit by a truck while on a bicycle, and I had lost consciousness, and in this video, I won't go into too many details about it, but I came pretty close to passing away. And I was spending a lot of time rehabilitating physically and emotionally to that event. And also at the same time, I was keeping my mind busy with creating a mental health series called Sensei Self-Development and a Learn to Read practice your reading as a toddler series of kids books called Life of Bailey. And that was, to be honest, going through my ups and downs with the rehab, but having a blast with putting together the books. And then something happened. That something was George Floyd had unnecessarily passed away. And I think a lot of people would agree that racial discrimination provided some kind of intertwined relation with that. So that's a lot to do with it. And then came the Black Lives Matter movement. And I found myself thinking about how the awareness of Black Lives Matters had come after the event of George Floyd's passing. And then it got me thinking about the story of Emmett Till. Now, you may not know, many of you may not know the story of Emmett Till. Some of you might, many of you might. In concept, it's a similar story to George Floyd. I won't go into the details of it now. You can look it up. Emmett Till, T-I-L-L. But it's a equally tragic story of a boy passing unnecessarily, again under the cloak of racial inequality. After Emmett Till had passed on in the 50s, came the civil rights movement. And now I was thinking, after putting this together with Black Lives Matter at the time and the history, not so far back, of the civil rights movement, that both were common in that it took somebody dying to create the awareness of both movements. And the time in between was less awareness of racial inequality, at least from my perspective, being as a Canadian apart from the United States. But still, it got me thinking even deeper, because I started thinking about, for me, as a mixed ethnicity kid in the 1980s in North York, Toronto, Canada. I'll tell you this part. So, as a kid, nobody was a mixed ethnicity child like me in the mid-1980s. Let me take you back to 1986. So I was 8 years old. And I remember that's about the time where it came to me where I realized nobody looks like me. There were mostly white kids, and there was one or two black kids, one or two Asian kids, and of those one or two, from time to time, we get someone coming, get someone going as the years went by. There'd be one or two Oriental Asian kids, and another maybe one or so, as I remember a few years down the line, of East Indian Asian kids. So I felt apart from all these kids because I knew they didn't look like me, and I looked like nobody. I looked like kind of a mix of everybody. And when I would go to my friends' homes, their parents would kind of look at me with, it was this kind of a strange look that I just did not like it, where they were curious about me, but not in a, I'm not sure even if there are words for it. Let's just say I kind of felt like I was kind of like an animal at a petting zoo without a little plaque that tells you what the animal is. You know what I mean? So I felt like I was apart from everybody else. Like the parents wanted to know my ethnicities, okay? Because I didn't look like any visual minority, and I didn't look like any visual majority. And it turned, to a lot of parents, it turned into a weird, uncomfortable question game. Where's your mother from? Where's your father from? Where is this? Where's that? What do you have different religions? Is it whatever? I kind of sometimes I felt like just pinning the answers to these questions, the same questions, to my shirt, and then just handing it over to the parents so I can go and play, with their kids at their house or something like that. It's like when you go to a petting zoo and you see an animal, and you don't feel like you relate to the animal. You feel like the animal is apart from you. And if there's no plaque that tells you what the animal is, you kind of wonder, where did the animal come from? Where, you know, so being on the other end of those questions, that interrogative, made me feel very uncomfortable for a very, very long time, especially as a kid. So where am I going with all this? Through all of these thoughts and all of this, I wanted to create a series of books. And here's where the passion part comes in. A series of books that creates a culture of appreciation of global cultures among kids, right? So picture an entire generation of kids that know a little bit about lots of different cultures around the world. They've learned this in school. They've learned it on their own. They've learned it from their parents. And this is not an upsell. This is my compulsion behind all of this, born of my discomfort ethnically as a mixed ethnicity kid. So I'll tell you what my ethnicities are. There's Jamaican roots on my mother's side, and Christianity is her religion. On my father's side, there's Austrian roots, and Judaism is their religion. I was raised as a Jew, and now you know. I've gotten really good at making that story very short now. So, if in the mid 1980s, in 1986, if I were handed a series of these books, let me tell you how I'd feel. I feel like I was part of a, pun intended, bigger world. I feel like I feel a little bit of relief that there are other kids out there that are just as different as me. And that my world isn't 95% white kids. It's a whole world of everybody. I wouldn't feel as uncomfortably alone. And that's part of my compulsion behind this, is that I want kids around the world that don't present as white to feel like they're part of a massive community. And the more they learn about these different cultures in this global community, the wiser and more appreciative they become of these cultures. So in the series, kids from each their own country teach other kids about their values and their beliefs, about the things they like to do for fun, about their families, about what they're learning in school, about their government, about their money, about the things that they feel passionate about, and about the land, about the landscape, the biodiversities, all the things that make their experience unique, so that it's shared. And why am I doing all of this? I'm doing all of this because I have a theory. And my theory is that if we can, through these books or otherwise, if we can take a younger generation and imbue into them a deep appreciation for other cultures, maybe there'd be a far less probability for, in the future, for there to be another Emmett Till story and civil rights movement. And maybe there'd be a lower probability for there to be a need in the future with educated, appreciative kids of other cultures in future generations, for there to be another George Floyd story and another Black Lives Matter movement. So instead of having a terrible event, instead of having someone die to inspire awareness, we can just skip over someone's passing and step right into awareness by taking awareness to the next level, which I would like to call appreciation. Appreciation for other people from other countries that look different, and that are different in fantastic ways. So that's my motivation behind where Kids on Earth came from. It came from me remembering that I used to be very uncomfortable in my own skin. And I think that a lot of kids, more kids these days, are of mixed ethnicities than they were in the 1980s. I'm laughing now because I know that that's true. And to those kids, and to every other kid, that whether you present as white or whether you present as any flavor of visual minority, as I've learned through putting together this series, because I haven't been to every country, by the way, you see all the books of books back here. I haven't been to every country here. Been to a few of them, quite a few, but not every single one of them. I'm starting to realize that fundamentally, we're very similar. And I think you guys saw this coming in this video here. We're very, very similar. Every kid in every country that I have, I should say, with each country that I've researched, all cultures so far, and I've done about 20 of these books so far, all have a core value system that revolves around love. Wanting to be, needing to be loved. And from that common core aspect of life, I think we all come from that. You know, I really do. So with all of this, look at this. I think I'm sweating through all of this. I wanted to take a moment to share this with you. It's a long moment, but thank you for sticking with me. And if you'd like to know more about the Kids on Earth series, feel free to check out all the links that are in the info box below. And you can download the first book of the Kids on Earth series for Costa Rica at kidsonearth.world. It's the book that looks like this. Not these ones over here, just this one over here with these two kids in Costa Rica there. Which is one of my favorites. Anyways, but I'm biased. Thanks again for listening to all of this. I appreciate your time. I hope you enjoy the first Costa Rica book there of Kids on Earth. I'm Paul David from Sensei Publishing. And most importantly, remember, it's a great day to be alive. I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.
Welcome to Sensei Publishing, creating transformative ebooks and guided meditations for adults and children worldwide.